You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports reporters, we're going to talk about Sean McDermott, and he gave some more thoughts on this 9/11 situation, of course, involving this controversial team meeting in which he brought up a couple of different things. 9/11, a woman that died down at Niagara Falls, and it was probably not the best analogy to make, but a lot like John Gruden, I don't think anybody should lose their job over things that happened years ago, particularly something like this, and it's something that he has addressed. Well, the Buffalo Bills have now addressed it, okay? They have put something to bed, at least around this narrative of this 9/11 situation, and he has come out, made some comments as well about how exactly hard this has been to deal with, because essentially, people started attacking his character. And I think we're talking about a guy here that, for the most part, I think a lot of people have liked Sean McDermott. It's clear things at one point this season were not going in the right direction. And the biggest issue with Sean McDermott right now, or with this team, is they're 6-6. They're 6-6, and as of right now, they're way out of the playoff picture. I mean, really and truly, as wins go, they're only one win back. But you see they're down at 11. There's some tie-breaking situations ahead of them right now. That is a problem. Now, they control their own destiny, essentially, and they've got a massive game. There's 2 big games tomorrow, folks. Actually, 3 big games. You got the Cowboys-Eagles, huge game. Niners-Seahawks, huge games. Bills-Chiefs is a massive game. And I think the Bills need that game. Honestly, I think the Bills should win that game. I do. I think their offense is running, in my opinion, better than the Chiefs' offense right now. Now, the Cowboys game in Buffalo is going to be tough, but it's in Buffalo. Should they beat the Chargers? Yes. Should they beat the Patriots? Well, they lost to the Patriots, but yes, they're probably going to beat the Patriots, okay? They're probably going to beat the Patriots. So it looks like, and then the last game of the season is going to be a massive game, and that one is in Miami. That may be the one for the playoffs, but as of right now, I do think there is a path to 10-7 for the Buffalo Bills. Now, whether or not they're going to have all the appropriate tiebreakers, I don't know. But this report has come out. This is Florio, and as of right now, Sean McDermott's job is safe. Now, you're talking about a coach that is 68-41. I mean, you're talking 10-6, 13-3, 11-6, 13-3. And 6-6. All right, now, one could argue his side of the ball, the defense, hasn't been great, but they've had a couple of good games, too, on defense that actually were pretty impressive, to be honest with you. Tim Graham of The Athletic reports, citing 4 unnamed sources, Sean McDermott's job is safe. Not only is it safe, everybody in the office has been aware, and to the point that this situation is now sort of an inner office joke, which I find kind of interesting. But I'm not outraged over these comments. Not the greatest analogy, but I don't think this should be a determining factor in getting rid of Sean McDermott at all. Quote, I'm told the 9/11 anecdote is old news within one Bills drive. To the point it has become a running inter-office joke, Graham wrote, calling it a, quote, distant memory that's been learned from. So it's pretty clear they're not going to get rid of him over this anyway. Now, if enough outrage happens, I don't know that they would change their mind, but I think for a lot of people, this is over and done with, okay? Over and done with. Now, he did make some more comments. He addressed the 9/11 issue with the entire team. I thought it went as good as one could expect, as I could expect, McDermott said. It was important for me to address the players that are new to this since 2019, may not have been around that day. so that they understood the situation and how it unfolded. And based on who I am and what I've seen, my hope is trying to do things and how I handled the situation so it went well. Their support was clear and much appreciated. I think these players like McDermott. I do. Now, they would go on. In any of our lives, if this came up for any of us, something like this, it's definitely get your mind spinning, right? McDermott said. Just being real, it's been disappointing. It's been hurtful. At the end of the day, I know who I am. At the end of the day, I know how I handled myself. He's probably talking about, let's be honest, there for about 24 hours, there was a movement to try to cancel this coach. Plain and simple. And he got caught in the middle of that. As I say, humbly, I'm not without flaws, right? Nobody's perfect. I wake up every morning trying to do the best job that I can to win games for the fans of the Buffalo Bills and do it right away, and that's my main goal. Again, just clear communication and accountability and trying to make sure everyone's on the same page. So he would go on to say, he addressed part of the story was also about Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator that he had to fire after a disaster. Look, this offense has not looked right all year. I will say this, it's looked better since Dorsey was shown the door. And, he was considered an up-and-comer for a potential coaching job. I think you can count that out for a while. I think Ken Dorsey's stock is way low now. Way low. I know who I am. I know how I try to run things. Am I without flaws? No, I'm not without flaws. McDermott said, I say humbly, I believe we try to do the right things here. It doesn't mean everything we do is right. People are going to have their own opinions. I believe we got we've won a lot of games since we've arrived. I'm confident in that. I'm confident in this football team, and people are going to have their opinions. I can't control that. It would go on to talk about, of course, you got the Von Miller situation, the domestic assault thing. His girlfriend has come out and said that was false, and that's been blown out of proportion. You got PFF. This is their quarterback grades, their quarterback rankings as of this minute. Josh Allen's ranked as the number 2 quarterback in the league. Now, again, this system can be flawed. I feel like it is flawed from time to time when looking at certain quarterbacks. But, there's a couple of things about his game this year that concerns me with Josh Allen. I'm not going to kid you. He's got too many interceptions for the amount of touchdowns he's got. That's one of them right there, okay? Last year, 35 TDs, 14 picks. This year, 24 TDs, 13 picks. So obviously that percentage, there's something wrong there. But his completion percentage, it's nearly 5 points higher this year. All right? Nobody's given up on Josh Allen by any stretch of the imagination. He does have 9 rushing touchdowns. 9. And he's cut down on his fumbles. He's only got 4. Last year, he had 13 fumbles. Yikes. That's a lot of fumbles. And it sure didn't hurt him too much. He was 3rd in the MVP voting. So, there's no doubt that the problem the Bills have got right now is, have they worked themselves too far into a hole? Okay, was the offense too far off earlier in the season, and that has ultimately caused an issue that may keep them out of the playoffs? And I'm just going to go back. I'm just going to look here. It's the one thing that's interesting is they haven't had an extended winning streak. They won 3 games in a row over the Raiders, Commanders, and Dolphins early in the season. 2nd, 3rd, 4th game. But, then it was a lot of win-loss, win-loss, win-loss-loss, win, and then last week an overtime, or the week before, that overtime loss to the Eagles. And, man, they should have won that game. That was a rough game to have lost. They had them right where they wanted them. So we'll have to see. I don't think Sean McDermott is losing his job. I don't. Even if they don't make the playoffs, I think they're going to bring him back for at least 1 year and see what happens next year. There's a lot of people don't realize there's been a lot of calls for McDermott's job, not because of this night. And yeah, he got calls for it over this issue, but it's been the performance of the team this year. That's why there have been calls. There's a fire around the idea that he is underachieving with such a really good quarterback. And that's the issue. I will tell you this. If they fire Sean McDermott, he's going to get a job immediately. It's kind of like, and of course he hasn't been in Buffalo nearly as long as Mike Tomlin, but if Mike Tomlin got fired by the Rooneys, Mike Tomlin would have a job the next day if he wanted it. You know? So it is what it is. I would actually believe it or not, Carolina would probably rehire him in a second. He was a defensive coordinator there at one time. So that's something to think about. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.